give that vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino. Good about yourself, Ryan. You're just a part of the King's Court. 82 games comes down to one tonight in Sacramento. The Dallas Mavericks have never been in the play-in. The Kings 1-1 in the play-in. Will they make it 2-1 after tonight at the G1C? Are you going to be in the building? What's going on? How you feeling about it? We've got a full show to get you ready for today, including the one and only Jerry Reynolds joining us here about 2:30. So if you have any questions for Jerry, make sure you get those in the chat. We're going to watch some film on the Mavericks last game that they played their guys, which would have been against the Raptors. And we're also going to talk about what the Kings, what is the path to success for them? What are they going to do defensively? Where are they going to play Keegan Murray? I have a strong suspicion Keegan Murray is going to be on AD, and there's a couple of X factors when it comes to that. So a lot of ground to cover. We'll talk about last night as well. The roadmap, it's paved perfectly for the Kings. This is what you wanted. You have the Mavericks, whether you wanted it at home or you didn't, regardless, you get a game in Sacramento. You've got the Mavericks here. The Grizzlies lose last night. They played tough. They played Golden State till the end. They lose, and Ja Morant rolls an ankle. He's already said that he's going to play, but could it be set up any better for the Kings? This was what you wanted. So we'll get into all that and more. Some reports coming out that Monty's seat is hot. Okay, Captain Obvious. Like, is there anything else? Water is clear. The sky is blue. The King's colors are purples. Monty's seat is hot. Of course his seat is hot. So anyways, let's get to it. We got you covered from right now all the way through the end of tonight. 4 shows for you, starting off right now with the King's Court. Welcome in. Court is in session.
Lights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we
What's up and welcome back in. Will we be hearing tonight? I hope so, for the sake of this city and Kings fans. Now, is there a little bit of an attachment that comes with that? Is there some false confidence that there's something here to continue building on? We'll see, but let's put one step in front of the other. Thanks for letting me in to your ears, your offices, your homes, whatever it may be. Ryan in Sacktown taking you up to about the 4 o'clock hour. Spread the word. This is the only place you're going to find Jerry Reynolds today. He's going to join me about 2:30. We're going to break down the matchup between the Kings and the Mavericks. Both teams already had shoot-around today. That has been completed. We've got some audio from shoot-around. Certainly want to hear from all of you. You can call the show using the QR code, or you can hit the link that is in the chat. That can get you on the show as well. But our top story, what's going on? 82 for one. 82 for one game. The question we've asked all year, Can the Kings win in a 1-game sample size? And what would it look like? We find out tonight. They host the Mavericks at the Golden One Center. It's going to be a whiteout. You're going to get white t-shirts that say "Feel the Roar" if you're going to the game. In fact, I was perusing the secondary market and just even Ticketmaster to see if it was a ticket that was of high demand. You can still get into that building for fairly cheap. So if you're kind of teeter-tottering on the edge of going down or not going down, you can get a couple of good seats to this one. And it will be a fun atmosphere. There is no doubt about it. As I said, Jerry will be joining us here at about 2:30. Very, very happy and lucky to have him. So if you have questions for Jerry, put them in the chat. We're going to dig into the minutia when it comes to the Kings. I really want to get into the start of this game because I think the start is going to be so important, and it's not going to be from an offensive standpoint. It's going to be from a defensive standpoint. I'll talk to Jerry more about that, but if you have questions for him, just put them in the chat. If you want to call the show and talk to me, you are more than welcome to do that as well. It is not hard. Just hit the link that is already in the chat. I will put it back in there. One more time, we probably are not going to take calls for Jerry today, but we will take questions. As I said at the top, reports coming out via Hoops Hype that Monty McNair is in the hot seat. I'm shocked. Holy crap. According to Hoops Hype, heading into the play-in tournament, Sacramento Kings executive Monty McNair is on the hot seat.
That's terrible.
League sources told Hoops Hype during the season, Sacramento lost assistant Luke Laux and Wes Wilcox went to the University of Utah. You know, there's this weird thing. Does anybody know when Monty's contract is up? I honestly don't know when his contract is up. It's like you can't find it anywhere. You knew he had an extension, but regardless, doesn't matter. I am curious about that. You got to think that there's like one more year left on it. But back to the report, should McNair's tenure in Sacramento end, many in league circles have pointed to former Denver Nuggets general manager Calvin Booth as a potential candidate to monitor. Further, if McNair and Sacramento part ways, the Houston Rockets have been mentioned as a potential landing spot. Seems like Houston's doing pretty darn good right now. Do they need a different GM? Obviously, Monty worked there from 2007 to 2020. So, yeah, we would appreciate it. Some thumbs up, some retweets, some likes goes a long way for us. And if you're just joining us, Jerry Reynolds with us, Mr. Holy Moly Jim Bob Bowley.
Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley.
At about 2:30, he will be dropping in to talk Kings Mavs with us. Last night, Golden State. How about Jimmy Butler? His season just began last night. 38 points for the Warriors. And quite frankly, the Grizzlies gave Golden State just about as much as they could handle. Came down to the wire. The Grizzlies had an opportunity to tie the game, and they didn't even get a shot off. Hard to think that you don't get a shot off. Ja Morant rolled his ankle in this one. When he came back to the game, he was limping heavily, and I was a little surprised that he was able to keep going, but he looked fine as the game went along. Now, that being said, Ja has already stated he will play on Friday against the winner of tonight's game in Sacramento, but you got to think that ankle is not 100%. Those things tend to swell up and get a little bit worse the next morning. So it'll be interesting to see what his status will be. But get out of the way. If you've got to play Golden State, 5-second violation. How does that happen? 5-second violation. And you know what's gone viral from that game is some dude eating spaghetti behind the bench, the Memphis bench. I'm not going to break that one down for you. But anyways, the Warriors could be for real. They might be for real. If you get this type of Jimmy Butler that frees up Steph Curry to be Steph Curry in clutch time. As we said, Ja Morant, sprained ankle, Grizzlies, just a ton. Talk about the three teams that have the most chaos going on around them right now, all 3 of them are going to be battling for the 8 seed. Dallas, us, and Memphis. One of these teams is going to play Oklahoma City. And speaking of that, here is the playoff. Oh, no, this is something else. My producer put a different slide in there. These are the Kings plus minuses for 5-man combinations. These are the 5-man combinations that have played the most time together since the trade deadline. I do have a stat, by the way, that kind of outlines a way to victory. It's not a mind-blowing stat. It's not anything that's like, oh man, Rhino, you dug deep for that one. But in 14 of the 30, or excuse me, in 15 of the Kings' 32 games since the break, they've made 14 or more threes. Their record in those games, 10-5. So is 14 threes the number? We always say 28 assists is the number, but the combinations tonight, that is what I'm looking forward to talking to Jerry about, because Doug is going to have some big decisions to make, especially if guys end up getting into foul trouble. This was what I was going to tell you. Here is the schedule for the West. That's how it lays out. So if the Kings end up, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if they end up as the 8 seed, that top left corner versus OKC, that would be the schedule for the playoffs. We obviously know there is your playoff picture heading in, or the play-in picture and playoffs, I should say. So here we go. Yeah, that's mind-blowing information, right, Gammon? Make 14 or more threes and you're 10-5 in those games. Holy crap. Who would have thought? So anyways, time for all of you to react. Get in on this show. Let me know what you're feeling, what you're doing today. Would love to hear from you. Let's get to the chat and see what's going on. JV will have to play. I agree. Will Monk be back for Oklahoma City? Self-proclaimed mayor of Sacktown. Okay. All right. At least you're acknowledging that you're the self-proclaimed mayor of Sacktown. All right. I'll acknowledge it.
Acknowledge me.
Malik Monk will not be reevaluated for another week and a half. That's reevaluated. So even if, let's say, that reevaluation goes well and they're like, yeah, you can start training again, he's still got to go through the entire process of getting back into shape. You got to kind of build those muscle. It's a tricky thing with an ankle, because although you're at the end of the season and you are in basketball shape, when you miss any period of time, a week, week and a half, it takes a little bit more to get the wind back into your lungs, the same way it was before you got hurt. So could he be there? Maybe for the latter half. Maybe for the latter half. I don't know. I don't want to, go past tonight. Let's get through tonight, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I think JV will play well tonight, but no foul trouble. Levine, DeRozan, Murray, Sabonis, Valanciunas. Yeah, I know you were looking at that. Progressive has always wanted the big lineups. Derek's got a free agency target for the Kings. Malcolm Brogdon. You don't think he's a little bit washed? You want to get older? I don't know if I like that one so much, but we're going to have plenty of time. Hopefully not after tonight, but we're going to have plenty of time to debate these things. People are overlooking the Rockets too much. Şengün ain't no joke. And their team defense is legit. Their defense is legit. Now, Tay, I wonder, though, if they're going to be able to keep their heads. I mean that. They take on, and a good team usually does this, they take on the personality of their coach. And sometimes the Rockets just kind of lose their minds at the wrong times. Ime will get ejected. Guys will get technicals. You wonder how that pressure is going to build. Oh, the mayor, he's back in again. We probably could have gotten Jimmy for De'Aaron, but Monk, yeah, probably shoulda, coulda, woulda. you wouldn't have had a DeRozan Butler situation would not have worked. Now, would I have probably liked the Butler contract a little bit more? Yes, but you had no guarantee. Remember, Jimmy signed an extension once he got traded to the Warriors. He was going to be, if this was a rental that the Heat were getting, so, or that the Warriors were getting. So I don't know. You got to kind of consider all of that if it would have been a very good move. Let's see. Pass on Booth. Yeah, I'm a pass on Booth as well. You guys are talking about the Kings being eliminated. Win or go home. Win or stay home for Monty McNair. Or maybe it's go home if it's to Houston. I think personally, no matter what happens, short of the Kings winning a championship, shakeups are coming. I think you're going to have a new coach and you're going to have a new GM. And I hope that anything that doesn't happen or anything that happens from this point forward, should it be positive, that it doesn't change the perspective on that. This team is majorly flawed. And you got to point a lot of the fingers at Monty McNair. You just do. I'm sorry. Now, have players not performed well? Yes. Have coaches not coached well? Yes. But you can't always say that the coaches were given the proper ingredients for what they wanted to run, what they wanted to do. How would you describe Monty McNair's tenure in Sacramento in one word? How would you describe it? I'll think about mine. You guys put yours in there. Ryan, does it smell like asparagus pea in my neighborhood? Ash.
That's terrible.
Ash, you know, we do have a penalty
Florida,
box
number 12
around
has
here.
2 minutes for roughing, and then every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct. Florida will have a 2-minute power play.
And I don't remember the last.
Ash, don't make me put you in the penalty box. That's a 2-minute minor for bringing up asparagus pea. And how do you know where my neighborhood is, Ash? You don't know my neighborhood. Come on, Ash. And Ash, where's our song? We're still waiting on our song. Grant and I want our song for this channel. PK getting some love here on the channel as well. So thanks for being here. Jerry Reynolds just around the corner here in about 10-15 minutes. Any questions that you might have for him, let us know and we will get into those. Tay chiming in. Memphis really suffers from the loss of Brooks, Tyus Jones, and LaRavia. Well, we're not mentioning the most obvious loss, Jalen Wells. Losing Jalen Wells was significant. In fact, you could probably argue that Jalen Wells is the reason that Jake LaRavia ended up on the trading block. So I guess Dylan Brooks, yeah, there was some questions about how Taylor Jenkins handled him. And that led to a little bit of animosity between the locker room and Taylor Jenkins. But Devin Brooks is just he's a tough cookie. He is a weird customer to deal with because he'll get his teammates on his side, but then he'll also, and this was what Taylor Jenkins' thing was, Dylan Brooks would shoot you out of games. Dude thinks that he's like Ray Allen. Thinks that he's like some spot shooter, and he's not. Doug McDermott. So it's complicated, but they do miss some of those pieces. There's no doubt about that. Look, they don't even know how to use Zach Edey right now. That was really clear last night. They had no idea what to do with Zach Edey last night. They're asking him to do too much. Progressive gives his tenure a B+. You say successful. Okay. Fair enough. Any other one word, any other single words to describe Monty McNair? Hopefully 5 million. Yeah, it's about what the Kings can offer him. I told Grant to do the song for free, and I would. All right. Okay, fair enough. Hey, we don't want you to come out of pocket. I take back the 2-minute minor, and thank you, Ash. Thanks for the explanation. Someone on Reddit posted that the Kings championship run starts tonight. Not an inaccurate statement, but what a delusional take. Yes, that's it's a little bit of a bold take. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the Kings did just win a championship.
Go Stockton!
It just wasn't the NBA championship. Let's see. So, all right. As we get ready, Kings can still win the West. I love the positivity. Surviving, mediocrity, big fat F. I don't think that's fair. John knows your neighborhood, and he was building around the corner from my work. Okay, fair enough. If I had to describe Monty's tenure in one word, the first word that comes to mind is trigger shy. That's the first word that comes to mind. The second word, well, let me think about that second word. That is an interesting proposition. Speaking of words, Keon Ellis after shoot around today had a few things to say. Here's Keon.
Already the kind of known the situation that we'll be in for a while now. So, I mean, I think we're just ready to just go out there and play ball. So,
do you like the environment of treating it like a game 7?
I mean, the one game elimination is kind of tough. I mean, especially if you kind of go out there and you feel like you played your best basketball. Like the game last night with the Warriors and Grizzlies. Like I'm pretty sure the Grizzlies would like to finish that one off a little bit different. But I mean, yeah, one game you just
That's terrible.
P's and Q's. So, but I mean, I think it's good for the sport. So, yeah.
Along those lines, you guys were in the similar situation last year. What do you just remember about that game last year?
Which one?
The Warriors one.
I mean, it's high intensity. It's definitely playoff level basketball. So, I mean, the game is a game of runs. So, I mean, if you kind of let them take off, you can't match it or kind of bring yourself back in. And, same with us. If we go off and they can't match it, you can kind of step away from you. So,
yeah, you guys called me out. Keep calling me out. You're right. Trigger shy is not one word. Well played. Well played. It's why I love you guys. You check me. You keep me honest.
kind of stay even keel and try to put together a full 48.
Dealing with a single game elimination, obviously you can't control like shots go in or they don't in one game. But what do you feel like are the controllables that you guys are trying to emphasize going into this?
I mean, the effort has to be there. Can't take plays off. The energy, our focus to the preparation that we've put in, the things that we went over their offense, how they're going to guard and things like that. So I think we just have to, when we go out there, remember those things and, kind of just take advantage of the things that are our advantage. So and kind of not let the game plan slip away from us.
Still, Dallas has had a lot of changes throughout the course of this year. Just what do you make of their current group and, the difficulties that come with trying to evaluate them?
I mean, yeah, their current group definitely a good team, a different look. As I mean, they've had guys in and out, and added some guys, and then some guys go down again. So definitely a different look. I mean, they're really big. Far as you don't really see too many teams with that much size, especially at the big position. So definitely a different look. A team that's kind of big, heavy, but I mean, it'll be interesting. I think this is our first time actually playing them with all those guys playing. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that looks out there.
That's why you kind of have to throw all the meetings before out, because we looked at some film from the game from the beginning of March, and you saw a couple of the bigs, but you obviously didn't have Anthony Davis. Here's what I would say. This is a team that was in the NBA Finals last year. Nico Harrison is all in on this idea that defense wins championships. I don't think that is completely accurate in today's NBA, but I think that the gate is starting to swing a little bit closer to that side. I think it's coming back a little bit. Jerry and I talked about this last season. Was Dallas and Minnesota ahead of the curve by going double big? Because as much as we give Luka credit, the double bigs last year for Dallas were huge. That's what got them to the finals. That's what put them over the edge. And now you're throwing in a third big in Anthony Davis. The risk for the Kings is this is a team that can lob the ball above the rim all day long if you are not guarding well on the perimeter. And that's where it gets a little sketchy for me tonight. That's what I worry about. You are going to have massive minutes, in my opinion, from Keon Ellis. You're going to have to have massive minutes from Devin Carter. Is he going to be able to perform in a game of this magnitude and tiptoe that fine line between aggressiveness and reckless abandon? Because if he goes too much over to reckless abandon, he's going to get in foul trouble. You're going to have more time with Zach LaVine on the perimeter guarding, and it's not what you want. And so how the Kings come out to combat this right from the jump, I think is so important. And it's not just what they do right from the jump, it's how they adjust, which goes back to the X's and the O's of Doug Christie. Is Doug Christie going to be able to match X's and O's with the other side? I hope so. I think so. But then we also think about pace and how important that has been to the Kings' success as well. So there's a lot of very intriguing things about this matchup. There's a lot of meat on the bone to chew on, and I am so glad that I'm going to get to chew on that bone with this guy because he is Mr. Basketball. He knows it all. Mr. Jerry Reynolds, how you doing on this play-in Wednesday, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yeah, actually, you made me hungry talking about chewing on the bone there for a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a fun game. You know, obviously the play-in is exciting because it's a one and done kind of thing for the most part, and you know, it's kind of like the March Madness. So it's win or go home certainly for the Kings, and you know, I like their chances, but it certainly we've seen them have some stinkers in the last month, and so it's going to take a good solid effort, I think, and I think the Kings will be surprised if we don't see that.
Yeah, I would be surprised too. And Jerry, last night the Warriors knock off the Grizzlies. Ja Morant sprains his ankle. The road has kind of lined up exactly where you would want it if you are the Kings.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't think. Yeah, I was really glad to see that way because I think the Kings' chances against the Grizzlies are a lot better. And then, you know, Ja Morant had the ankle sprain. He came back and played, but you just wonder if that's going to be 100% by the time if the Kings were to get to him. So, yeah, it's fallen in place for the Kings. All you got to do is win 2 games.
Well, yeah, you got to win 2. I mean, up until this last road trip, we really hadn't seen, or I hadn't seen, Jerry, the Kings show us that they could win 2 games in a row, and they beat the Cavs and they beat Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I felt the same way. You know, I mean, after the Washington game, I was pretty low. You know, I mean, but I mean, to put two really good games together against quality teams, you know, shows that, you know, we know what they've got. And I do think that, you know, it's one of those things to where Coach Christie's getting more familiar with his guys. It looks like the Domas is becoming more of a hub of the offense again. Zach LaVine, you know, is getting shots, more shots up and the right kind of shots. So, you know, it's all good. I mean, I think too, you know, we've always been concerned about the Kings 3-point shooting, but lately it's been very good. And when you have, Zach and Keon and Domas are all well over 40%. So that's, not, Domas doesn't shoot many, but I mean, Keon and Zach, I mean, those guys are pretty consistently good.
Jerry, is Domas coming out and confidently shooting and knocking down the 3-point basket tonight one of the keys to opening up the offense for everybody else?
I think he needs to take the open shots. I mean, and now, it's like anything. He needs to hit a couple, but you're right. I think he's going to get those shots, and that will open up a lot of things when he does. And of course, I think I heard a little bit of what you were talking about earlier before I came on about, pace is going to be so important. I mean, the faster the game, the better off the Kings will be. They should be, and if they could extend the defensive pressure, I think that'll be good too, because I think the guard line of the Mavericks are vulnerable. They don't know Kyrie Irving. They got good players, but they don't really have a true point guard, and their shooting is inconsistent out there as well.
Sure. And the last time these two teams met, and I know that these teams are dramatically different, or at least Dallas is, from the last time in March, the Kings did a really good job of getting downhill. And a lot of that started with the pick and roll with Malik Monk, who you do not have tonight, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
So how can the Kings effectively get downhill into the basket tonight?
Well, I do think they can still do that some, the pick and roll. I don't think anybody's quite as good as Malik with it, but I would like to see Zach LaVine. Even if it's not even getting all the way to the basket, but just use the screen roll for the 15, 18 footer. Because I think with a 1 or 2 dribbles, I think he's pretty effective. I've not been a fan of his dribbling ability when he gets into a lot, going very, very far with it. Kind of like Mitch Richmond.
Yeah.
I've said that before. Mitch was great for 2 dribbles. After that, it became an adventure. and so you wanted him to get a good shot with that first couple of dribbles. And of course, he knew his weakness and was great. And I think Zach's a lot like that. If he can get a clean look within a couple dribbles, he's about as good as anybody.
Yeah, no doubt. When he gets cooking, it is something special to watch. It is fun to watch. Something like we haven't seen in Sacramento in a really long time.
No, his delivery on his 3-point shot, that is a quick delivery. You almost think you're watching Tom Brady in the pocket back there. I mean, that ball is gone. I mean, he just a little quick step back and it's gone. He doesn't need the 3 little quick steps like Harden does. I always said I don't know why that's not travel when you go backwards. If you go backwards, I guess it's like I noticed Curry last night. He had a big 3, and I swear he took at least 3 quick steps backwards. And it's like, well, if he did that forward, it'd be
100%. Anytime, a lot of times, they shouldn't say anytime, when the guys are catching the ball, especially in transition for a 3, there's that gather where it's almost like a tap dance. Doot, doot, doot.
Yeah. They're pivot foot, it's moved 3 times. Well, I don't know. I used to know the rules. I guess.
I guess we wouldn't have a smooth game if they called traveling every time guys actually traveled.
No, I mean the only way you could really do it is start the season, and during preseason, and really to let everybody know that these things don't get called. Whoa, we got a little.
You know what? So anytime a basketball contact calls me, I have the NBA on NBC ringtone because I know it's basketball related. And I failed the audience by not putting my phone on mute, Jerry.
I've done that once or twice myself, to be honest with you. So, but I've got it on mute now.
See,
so,
I'm still learning. Not professional.
Of course, not really. Partly just because I didn't want Mrs. Reynolds to call me because she might. She'd be wanting me to do something, and I don't want to do nothing.
It's playing day. I got to work. I mean, you've got the halftime show.
Yeah, I've got to get mentally ready. After we visit about this. I would have to take a nap, get my
right.
game face on, get
That's
ready.
right. Get some fuel in you and be ready to go. Get that beer on ice later tonight for a beam, maybe.
Ooh. Yeah, well, I think I've got one couple stashed there. I mean, I'm ready.
What kind of beer does Jerry Reynolds drink?
I
Okay.
like Coors. I like Coors.
Okay.
Coors Light. I'm not a real connoisseur of it. But I used to drink a lot of beer. But now it's kind of pick my
Sure.
spots. Pick my couple.
Sure.
I always say my diabetes doctor said, well, a couple of beers, occasionally it's not bad. It's okay. And of course I said, well, what's the point if you can't drink more than two?
I hear that. Yeah.
My goal used to be is to try to drink them all.
Make Napes pick up the tab.
Yeah, well, that was impossible. You know that.
Yes, I do. Jerry joining us here on a play-in Wednesday. He'll be back with us at halftime of this one. Let's turn to the defensive side of the game, because I feel that the way the Kings come out defensively could dictate a lot of how this game plays out tonight, whether they are doubling, whether they're in the drop, Jerry. So with the Kings starting lineup that we know that Doug usually goes to, are you putting Keegan on Anthony Davis and letting him work single?
That's a great question. I think you about have to, I suppose. I think you'd hope he doesn't get in foul trouble, but I do think he can make it tough on Anthony. He's not quite as long and everything, but he's mobile and he can, and physically he'll get muscled a little bit, but it's probably the best matchup. I think the real key maybe is who Keon is put on. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe Dinwiddie, you'd think, because he's kind of the head of the snake in a sense, and I think that he is vulnerable to really good defensive pressure. So that may be rather than say put him on a Klay Thompson, who I think he could really make it difficult on. But I'm not at all sure just getting him on the guy who really needs to make plays for them might be the best way to go.
Because if you don't with Dinwiddie, he had a game against the Kings earlier this year where he scored 10, 15 points in a quarter because the Kings were leaving him open, Jerry.
Yeah, and he's really good getting downhill. I mean, I think that's part that scares me with him. And if he gets to making a few perimeter shots, and he really can put up big numbers. I mean, he's like a lot of guys, he's hot and cold, but I do think that they need him to score a lot of points for them to win.
Yeah, and I guess most basketball games start this way to a degree where the defense begins on the perimeter. But Jared, this basketball game may be won on the defensive side on the perimeter, because if you're playing too off, you're going to leave guys open. And we know how guys get hot at the Golden One Center. And conversely, too much pressure or fake pressure and guys get by you, it's Lob City all night with these Dallas bigs.
Yeah, I think you hit on it. I mean, I think you really got to keep these guys, you can't let them dribble drive you and get downhill to the basket, because you've got too many big athletes in there. Lively's available now. Gafford is playing, and of course Anthony Davis. So size and they're all athletic guys. So keep them on the perimeter. I think I wouldn't be too surprised to see Doug Christie play a lot of zone. And, and I thought the other night he played, Sabonis and Valanciunas together in a zone for a few minutes. And I was wondering if he wasn't just kind of like maybe a little test run, because I could see that, maybe being something you might want to do against this really big team. And then a little better way of keeping the dribble penetrators outside, kind of a little better control that way. So, it'd be interesting to see if that's a strategy he tries for some minutes.
Sure,
anyway.
absolutely. And then back to Sabonis, if he can pull Anthony Davis out, that will in turn help the Kings be able to get to the paint like they did effectively in Dallas. I guess if the Kings lose this game and the bigs for Dallas have a decent game, and we're talking about 10 minutes or less that Doug Christie plays JV and Sabonis together, is that the reason we're pointing out that the Kings lost this one?
Could be. I mean, I think that if it comes to be, and it's very possible that the Dallas bigs really control the game, with just really the size advantage, and they're fairly physical, especially Gafford. But Valanciunas, I mean, he's full grown. I mean, you put him in there, he'll bang with them and give real fouls. So I just think at some point you almost have to think in terms of, okay, we can, because Domas can play guys on the wing pretty well, amazingly well for a center. And so I just think that's something maybe we need to see. And both guys got 6 fouls.
That's why you get 6, right?
That's why you get 6.
Yep. And that's where I turn with Devin Carter. He seems like he will be, I think, the X factor for the Kings in how he plays tonight, Jer.
Boy, he sure could be. I tell you what, defensively, now he gets a little carried away. He always gets about 2 or 3 little goofy fouls, but I love his aggressiveness. I mean, he really gets into guys. And here again, what we talked about earlier, I think this Dallas guard line is susceptible to pressure. So, and Coach Christie is really getting more confident with Carter all the time. And I think you're onto something there. I think that he could be a real factor.
Is there a name for Dallas that we're not talking about that we should be talking about?
Probably PJ Washington. I mean, we've seen him. I mean, he's capable of getting a 25, 30-point game, and he's an excellent deep shooter, especially those corner shots. So I think he's the guy that is going to benefit the most next to Davis. He'll get some dunks and stuff, but if they get to penetrating the ball, PJ is going to have a lot of nice looks over in the corner.
He seems to always find those corners, like there's magnets in his shoes.
He does, and he did in Charlotte. I always remember the one game where I think Charlotte came in and beat the Kings, when they weren't supposed to, and he had about 10 threes or something. I don't know what it was, but he's a good player, and he'd been injured a lot, but he's back full tilt. So I kind of worry more about him than I do Clay, which I may regret saying that, but I just think he's really a tough recover.
You think there's any extra motivation for Clay? Remember last year the Kings held him scoreless in the play-in game that they won at Golden One Center.
Oh, I guarantee there is. I mean, Clay hadn't forgot that, and plus he still got that warrior blood in him. Sadly, but I think if Clay plays poorly, it's because the Kings are defending him well and all that. But he's going to want to have a game, and he's not the Clay of old, but he's had a few games this year where he looked like the Clay of old, and the Kings can't afford to have him resurrect his Splash Brother persona tonight.
Yeah, completely with you. If you leave that guy open, he still can shoot a shot. Make a shot. That's one of those talents that doesn't necessarily go away with age. Speed, all that, maybe.
Yeah, he can't escape like he once could and get to the basket like he once could. But, just as an open spot shooter, if you're going to give him, he's still going to knock those down at a high rate. That's why you don't need to leave him under any circumstances, stay with him.
No doubt. We talked about pace in just a couple more minutes. Jerry joining us. We're very grateful to have him here on game day. We talked about the pace of the game and how important that is. When the Kings, I call it a Zach LaVine pace. When they play that pace, it seems to be their best pace since the All-Star break. But when they play a DeMar DeRozan pace, things get a little bit sticky, and that's not necessarily the game the Kings always want to play. So the first question I have is, how do you play a Zach LaVine pace and get an effective DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, we've talked about that some in the past. I've always thought, especially when the game gets in, if it gets into the half court, it really, I'd like to see a situation where actually DeMar is initiating the offense more, and that starts the ball. And where DeRozan, I think, is so valuable if he gets the ball at the end of the
Yes.
clock. In other words, because he does have the ability to create shots probably better than most. But if he's looking for a shot early, it just takes up too much, and you get guys standing around. But it's one of those deals. It's like, well, yeah, if DeMar can actually get the thing moving, and then if it gets back to him, it's at the end of the clock, then okay, now do your ISO. We've only got 5 seconds on the clock, and go get your shot or draw a foul, that sort of thing. But to your point, yeah, it's you really would like to see the Zach LaVine really be the guy that benefits from the early
Certainly.
passes or the transition offense opportunity.
Certainly. And both of those guys, sometimes we've seen them pass up really great looks for worse looks. And so is that a confidence thing? Is that a trying too much to maybe draw a foul, Jerry thing?
I that's a great question. I've always thought it seemed like early where guys are trying to fit in too much. I mean, where new guys come to teams and they don't want to appear selfish. We want to try to fit into a fault, and it's like Zach in particular. Well, look for your score. That's what your score. Let the team will adjust to you. Just do what you do best. And as you said, I mean, he was turning down shots a few weeks ago, just too much. I think lately it looks like he and Domas especially seem like they've gotten a comfort zone, which is really important. Really important. And because I think with Domas, he'll find him and they'll also get him open. And I think that's a real key for the Kings. I mean, now he may have a poor shooting night, but you want him getting up 15 to 18 shots at least.
Yep, I am with you. And I think it's incumbent on Doug Christie tonight, if the game does start to get a little bit sticky, that he called that timeout that sometimes he has not called since the All-Star break, to get things refreshened up, call a play. And sometimes the Kings haven't been great out of the timeout, something that they're going to have to do a much better job of tonight, Jer.
Yeah, I think so. And it's a play in, so it's you might have called timeout, as you say, and you might have to hurt somebody's feelings. You can't just have a group hug all day long, and so because it's one and done. So approach it that way. Whatever you need to do as a player, whatever you need to do as a coach, if it means the players, challenging each other, that's all should be all on the table.
Amen. I hear you. All right. Last question. We'll get you out on this one. Can the Kings win this game if Keegan Murray is not in double digits?
I don't think so. I don't think he has to score big because he's going to be probably more important on the defensive end than the offensive end. But I do think he has to score in double figures. If it's 12, 15 points, I would say, basically that could be enough. I mean, and if he can stay on the floor most of the time and do the great job he does defensively, that type of game. But you got to get some points from him. But I don't think it'd be nice if he got 30, but I don't think that's what you need. You really need the offense from, certainly Domas has got to get, probably 15 to 20 points and 15 rebounds and 7 or 8 assists, which you can generally just rack that up. And then, but I think I do think Zach is 100%. The key. I just think he's got to go for 25 or so.
Yeah, in the first half, preferably, right?
That'd be good. Yeah, he could. I mean, that's what about the guy. I mean, he's capable. We've seen it. I mean, he goes on one of those heaters, and I don't know.
It's different. When he went on that heater in Detroit, that was just different than anything I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen. I mean, I've certainly seen Mitch Richmond or Kevin Martin go on some really good impressive tears offensively, but the way he does it, I mean, the ball is just gone so quick. I'm amazed at his quick release because everybody in the building knows he's going to shoot it. And nobody can do anything about it.
100%. And to that, the passing, the Kings need good passing tonight. That doesn't mean like it has to be an assist every time, but good passing to good places because they've got the right shooters.
Good assist to turnover ratio, we talk about all the time. And that is so important with this team. When you see that, 12, 14 turnovers and 20 assists, that isn't good enough. We need probably a 27, 28 assist, maybe 12 turnover game, 11 turnovers. That about 2.5 to 1. That probably will get
all
you
right,
a beam.
there you go. 2.5 to 1 equals a beam. I like that. Jared, thanks so much for making time for us.
Well, always great to be with you, Ryan, and hope we all just enjoy. That's looking forward to it. Getting ready.
Getting ready. We'll go get your nap in. Keep your phone on silent.
Okay.
And we'll see you at halftime. Thank you so much, buddy.
See you in the half. Okay, take care.
All right, take care. How great is that? Jerry making time for us on a game day. So what do you take from that? Anything that maybe caught you a little bit off guard? Anything that you want to add on to that Jerry had to say? You can call the show. Would love to hear from you. All you got to do is hit the link in the chat. Again, so grateful to have Jerry with us. He will be back with us at halftime tonight. So make sure that you join us for that. Grant will be here as well. That's when we will also give you our final score predictions, which have not been very good as of late. Usually we have been wrong. So hopefully we're wrong in the right way tonight, but definitely come back to us at the half. We'll be right here for you. Some of you were talking about JB and his comments earlier this afternoon at a shoot around. Here's what JB had to say.
I think you're speaking to the team. You think you guys are ready for this moment?
We are ready. We put a lot of work over those 2 days. This morning too. Went through all the details, all the X and O's, and we're ready.
How do you get yourself ready for a win or go home type of situation?
Wake up in the morning, have breakfast, come here, have a good shoot around, come to the game. That's how you prepare.
Yeah. You don't want to treat this game any differently than maybe any other?
Well, every game is very, very important. So this one, it's do or die, and we're ready. We feel good about it.
The size that Dallas has, just what sort of challenges does that present to you guys?
Yeah, they have big guys in the paint, but we have not two smaller guys too. So we're gonna go there, fight, be physical. Coach prepared a good plan, so we'll execute a plan and we'll be fine.
Do you enjoy these type of moments? Like obviously you've been in a lot of them, but the environment that comes with the crowd and single elimination basketball.
Fans been great throughout the season. I mean, throughout the period of time I've been here. So I expect no less, and expect supporting. It's different now. Yeah, it's more intense, but you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good.
Based off of a previous playing experience, is there a common theme that you think in these games that has really decided the winner? And of all those games that you've been, what's been the commonality between all those games? Like the wins, the losses. Just like the wins and the losses. Is there a common theme for the playing teams that move on versus the ones that end their season?
Well, you got to win, and then you're going to move on. So it's easy as it sounds. It's not easy to do, but if you win, you're gonna go further. So that's what we're gonna try to do, and we're capable. We'll see tonight.
You talked a little bit about the kind of the fans and the atmosphere. Debo was talking a little bit about how much that can really help you guys and how home court can help. I know you've been on the opposition side so often in Sacramento, especially in intense games. How helpful is that crowd in that environment?
When I was in opposition, I didn't like it. Now I love it. So
yeah,
fans been great. Fans been, unbelievable, and I expect no less. I expect to feel great support, and we'll do everything to not disappoint the fans.
Has there been a guy that's maybe a guy or two that have kind of stood out to you in the games, especially recently when you guys have really been rolling and playing well? Is there a guy that kind of bubbles to the top in terms of been most impressive?
Most impressive
in terms of like when you guys are playing well, that like maybe just during the stretch, because like I know Domas talked about maybe this might be your best stretch of games since this group has been together. Can you think of a guy that's really impressed you?
Well, it's a team sport. We can't do individually. We got to do all together. 5 guys on the court. I don't know, 12, 13 guys on the bench. We all got us. We all got our roles, and we all got to follow the roles. Easy to say, hard to do, but we got to know what we need to do on the court.
I love his answer about how you prepare for a game like this. That was awesome. What you're looking at right now is on the right side, the Kings stats this year versus the Mavericks, and on the left side are the Mavericks stats versus the Kings this year. So we'll go back to those in a few minutes. First, let's go to the phone lines. I said that if you call in, we will get to you, and we are doing that. Oh, it is our resident line stepper. Now, here's the thing. Some people like cross the line, like Jerry Jones, for instance. He is way more than a habitual line stepper.
For me, it's a reminder. I too been here 23 years, and it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
That's Jerry Jones, the guy we're bringing on. PK, our guy, loves the Kings, loves talking about him, loves crossing the line from time to time. Got to get his imaging.
He would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
PK, what's up, dude?
Man, screw your lines. I don't care about your lines. We got freaking playing today. I don't care about stepping in about any lines. We've been waiting all year for this moment. Hey, we get a play in today. I am excited. You know what I'm excited about? In the past, some of these play-in games that we've had in the past and playoffs, even with Fox when we were playing pretty well, Sabonis kind of lost himself, and then he had no support because let's get real. Len is, I'd rather have a bag of bats than Len on my team.
I don't think that's fair, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think most of us will disagree with you on that, but
a bag of bats. Now, are we talking baseball bats, or are we
baseball
talking
bats or balls? A bag of balls. How about that? Bag of balls.
Okay.
There you go.
Baseballs
Then,
or basketballs?
Whatever balls you want. I will take that trade any day over Alex Len. But I think few times I think Sabonis kind of had those moments where in these big games where we have to win. Sabonis kind of lost himself. I think this time we have JV there. And I know that there's going to be perimeter issues and I think and stuff like that, but I think it's really going to help to settle down Sabonis. And I agree with whoever said that Sabonis is going to go off tonight, even against AD. I think he's going to do well. Do you think Sabonis is going to play well today?
I do think Sabonis will play well, but I think it has to start from the perimeter instead of from inside for Sabonis. I think he's got to be able to confidently step into a three-pointer because it's going to be open. I think he has to confidently take a mid-range J if it's open, and it goes from there. Because now you're forcing Anthony Davis, you're forcing Lively, Gafford, those guys to come out. So if he can play outside in, then yes, he's going to have a big game.
Yeah. Also, another thing, I agree with what Mr. Jerry said. I think they have to go into that zone more today.
I agree.
I think they should go into that zone more and maybe earlier. And DC maybe play around with the zone a little sooner than sometimes he does. And yeah, and go Kings, and love you everyone in the chat. Bye.
All right. Good job, PK. Woo! We got through a PK call without too many lines being crossed. But Alex Len for a bag of bats? Come on, PK. Alex deserves a little bit more credit than that. I mean, he had to kind of change his game around to be here. And sure, it wasn't ideal, but I think it was better than JaVale McGee, for being candid. Anyways, the zone defense, yes. Now, the liability with the zone defense is giving up zone defense is giving up offensive rebounds. That is your liability. The Kings, prior to the trade deadline, did a pretty good job of keeping teams off the offensive boards when they were in the zone defense. Since it's been hit and miss. The reason I like the zone defense, and I think Jerry said it very well, is not only the length that you have if you're playing it with Sabonis and Valanciunas and Keegan Murray to a degree, but the fact that I look at Dallas's roster and the whole way, the right way to beat a zone is by getting somebody to the middle of the zone. And ideally, the person you want in the middle of the zone is to be the playmaker. You want that somebody to be able to hit that shot, see the floor, make the right pass. And outside of Anthony Davis, I don't know who else on this roster for Dallas is going to be playing that middle zone piece. Now, the other part of that, and what sometimes is a positive of the zone defense, is teams will not try to get a guy to the middle. They'll simply try to shoot you out of the zone. So that's going to come down to how well the Kings guard on the perimeter with that. And the zone also is so much about communication, much like transition defense. So it's going to have to be, they're going to have to be connected. I like the fact that both JV and Keon from Shoot Around today talked about walking through Dallas's sets. They talked about X's and O's, because we all know that Coach Christie can get you up for a big game. But the bigger question has been, are the X's and O's there? Can he adjust? Will he adjust? In the past, it's been all or nothing. He's either adjusted perfectly, made the right challenges, or he hasn't adjusted at all. And we've had 8 or 9 minutes of DeRozan isolation basketball where the Kings shoot themselves out of a game. So regardless of whether the Kings are going to ISO in offense tonight or they're moving the ball and Zach's the guy, which this has to be centered around Zach tonight. Like Jerry said, the ball still needs to move. Everybody needs to be touching the ball. Even if they're not shooting it, they need to be touching it. Now, that's not just an onus that's put on DeMar DeRozan's shoulders or Zach LaVine's. That's also on Keon. That's on Keegan. Make sure that they're not standing around. They need to be cutting. They have to be active, because how do you get the best of a bigger team? You tire them out. So you got to make sure Dallas is playing defense. Make them play defense for 20 seconds of that shot clock, 24 seconds of that shot clock. And when they're not playing defense, you're running them in transition. So a lot of different things, a lot of good things that the Kings can go into, a lot to be optimistic about. But the bottom line is, we've not seen this version of the Dallas Mavericks. We've seen this version of the Kings, not the Dallas Mavericks. Zach LaVine, though, if you look at the numbers right here, he's a plus 17 against the Mavericks this year. So that makes me happy. That means that he has had some success. Now, DeRozan, a plus 14.3. Monk, who we don't have. Herter, no longer there. Keegan Murray, a plus 9.7. Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles is kind of the wild card of this thing. How is Doug going to fit him in? He's going to have to be playing a little bit bigger, but I think Trey, his aggression, Trey's been playing really good basketball lately. So I expect him to also get a lot of burn. But look, the core of your team has had success against Dallas. That's why you're 3-0. That's why your net rating against Dallas is 11.7 this season. The only problem is it's a different Dallas team. So a lot to talk about still on this one. Kings, Mavs tonight. We're taking your calls, leading you up. We've also got the pregame show tonight. We'll be starting that at 6 p.m. As opposed to 6:15. So if you'd like to get in on the action and call the show now, you're more than welcome to. Sac is buzzing. Yes, indeed. Imagine if they make the playoffs. There's nothing like Sacramento during the playoffs. It's incredible. Grant and I did shows live downtown when they were in the playoffs in 22-23, and the energy was amazing. We had a great time. It's just different. So I hope they can get there, and the path seems to be exactly what you wanted. We talked about this weeks ago on our respective shows and on this channel together, that you wanted Dallas in the play-in and you wanted Memphis for that second game if you were able to get past Dallas. That's how it's lined up. And Ja Morant's ankle is dinged up. He says that he will play regardless on Friday, but he is not going to be 100%. Let's get some of your comments in here, and then we are going to watch a little film of Dallas's last game that they played their guys against the Raptors. We're going to go through some of that. Yesterday, we watched some film of the Kings and the Mavericks from early March. So ride or die, Wolf says. All right. Ryan, been thinking of you all day. Oh, appreciate it. Want to hear how excited hear excitement for how far we can go. I'm excited. I have always been a Kings fan. Now, when I do this, I have to take my fandom out of it. But I'm excited. Like Grant says, he's a fan of all you. I'm excited for this fan base. You have been through a literal roller coaster ride this season. That's why we have this. I am so proud of this graphic, by the way. This is not AI. This was handmade. I took my sweet time and added every single one of them onto the roller coaster. Now, the problem with this visual is it's too nice of a roller coaster. The Kings ride this year has been more like a wooden roller coaster that's missing a plank every now and again. It's got a couple of sharp turns. But all of you have been on this roller coaster ride this season through coaching changes, through trading the most marketable player on the team, the quote-unquote face of the team in De'Aaron Fox, Doug Christie taking over, JV coming in, good wins, bad losses, etc. All the reports about Vivek and management, people hopping off the coaster, Luke Laux, Wes Wilcox. It has been a roller coaster of a ride. So when y'all sat and we all sat here together after Mike Brown was fired, did you think we were going to have a chance to get this thing right? Did you think the Kings were going to bring it back, or at least bring it back enough to where you would be in the play-in? Not even the playoffs, the play-in. Did you think that was going to happen? One of the most legendary voicemails was left on our telephone line, the show's line. This was Charlie at the low point of the season for the Kings, and it was right before the Rose Bowl, too. You'll understand why I'm telling you that. But listen to this voicemail from Charlie.
Hey, my name's Charlie. I'm a huge Kings fan, and I just wanted to I guess, discuss my frustrations about the past couple of days. Just, I mean, basically the season as a Kings fan, it's just been a disappointment, but mostly the past couple of days, and just my disappointment and just disgust in the owner of this franchise and the direction this franchise is heading. I frequently go to Kings games. I've been to a lot. I'm actually a college student, so my parents have been nice enough to kind of get me tickets to the games, so I've been able to go. And it's just been so unfortunate to see them. I mean, they lost 6 in a row now. And I'm just pretty disgusted with this team. I'm pretty close to, I mean, I love this team so much, so it's kind of basically, I feel like it's my last straw. And I'm obviously going to support this team, but it's just so hard right now. I'm glad I go to University of Oregon, so I'm glad I have the Ducks at least are in a college football playoff. But it's definitely unfortunate times as a Kings fan. So yeah, bye-bye.
See what I mean? Now you're hosting a play-in game. So congratulations. Yes, the excitement should be there. The excitement is here. But you can't let the excitement mask, even if they make the playoffs, the changes that need to be made in Sacramento. And yes, we all know they start with the owner. Can't force the owner to sell. I said it yesterday. The owner is the poop in the Kings ice cream. For those that don't know what I mean by that, John Calipari, he's got my back. This is what I mean by the owner is the poop in the Kings ice cream.
There's a bucket of poop and there's a bucket of ice cream. You can put all the ice cream in that poop that you want. It doesn't change it. But one little pinch of that poop in that ice cream ruins that ice cream. And I'll tell a guy, you, my man, are the poop in our ice cream.
So there you go. Furious, you're doing it again. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Everything that goes to the channel goes back into the channel to give you all a better product. So thank you, Furious. Hopefully the Kings win. Is AD playing or out? AD is definitely going to be playing in this one. I would be shocked if AD does not play. I saw somebody put in the chat that Shams reported that Nico Harrison got fired. That doesn't seem right. Peter, what's up? Let's see. Rhino needs to do a review of Miles Bird from San Diego State. It's possible 38th or 43rd pick. Page's son, also an option on some boards. Yeah, we've got all posts or all off season to do that. And by the way, during the off season, yeah, we don't have as much Kings content to talk about, but we go back through the past season. We cover what's going on with the NBA. Then we cover the draft. And before you know it, we are almost to the start of the preseason and training camp. So stick around here on the channel. It is still a fun show. We'll cover some other topics, but we really get into depth, and we'll definitely have some guests along the way as well. So which way y'all leaning tonight? You got this one as a Kings win? You got this one as a Dallas win? Paul's right. These games are usually very close. Somebody made a fake Shams account, and hence the confusion. It took that long. It took that long for somebody to make a fake Shams account. Interesting. Athena, it's a great analogy. Everybody gets it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's a good analogy made by a very good college basketball coach. So, all right, let's watch some film of the last time the Mavericks played their guys. We'll put some of the team stats up from that night and kind of see what we think they're going to do, because these are the guys that they're going to be playing tonight. So without further ado, let's take a look. Toronto They are in the midst of a rebuild. What are they going to do with Scotty Barnes? All right, so AD, wing, dribble handoff, Clay. Okay, so they're doing some dribble handoff. They're running through AD. See, that's what you got to worry about right there. The Kings have got to check guys. A lot of pick and roll. Okay, first off, if Klay Thompson kills the Kings with pick and roll tonight, the Kings deserve to lose. Keon Ellis should have no problem defending that. And I think that's why Jerry said what he said about it's interesting to see if he's going to be on Klay, if he's going to be on Max Christie. So again, a lot of pick and roll. There's PJ Washington for you. So Davis is playing a decent amount away from the basket. Put your thoughts in here if you see anything that bounces off the page to you. Okay, so some high-low action there. Let's go back. Yep, high-low. And we went to the high side. You know, that is something the Kings have not defended well. Or at least the help defense. The help defense has not helped well when the Kings front guys. And if you front Anthony Davis, you better have somebody there coming on the back end to take that charge or help. No Laravia, yes, that definitely hurts in a game like this. No doubt about it. Dallas, slow to get back in transition, so that's where the transition is so important. Just breaking you down from the perimeter. Again, the lob threats tonight. Okay, so they're trying to get him downhill. Very interesting. It's a little bit different than what the Lakers did using him. Max Christie, not great with the ball, but a very good shooter. See, a play like that can never happen. Come on. And mind you, this is Toronto. Inside out, that's where the Kings got to be on their P's and Q's. Caleb Martin, he's played in big games like this. You hope he is not an X factor. Yeah, here's Dallas's injury report for you. Davis, game time, he's going to play. Brandon Williams, game time, not sure about him. But Davis, there's no way Davis ain't playing in this game. I would be shocked if Anthony Davis is not playing in this game. Anthony Davis came back this year in part because of Nico Harrison and that situation. He is very close with Nico Harrison. He wanted to give the fans a run. Okay, so transition can work. See, you just got to tire these guys out. Look at that high pick and roll. Okay, and that's what you worry about. That is what you worry about right there, the lobs. You know, they have the size advantage on the Kings, but watching this, it doesn't look like they're really using their size to their best advantage. And maybe that was just a Raptors matchup thing, but I'm not necessarily terrified if this is the style the Mavericks want to play tonight. And again, a Toronto Raptors team that's not very good. If you're going to have that many bigs on the perimeter, then you have got to have Zach LaVine. Not hesitant. Let's see what they do down the clutch. And this is a blowout, by the way. It's 40-70 by this time. So, yeah, they've got their guys out. Well, AD's still out there. So, that's a little bit of film on them. Anything that jumps off the page to you. let me know. Keegan Murray, to me, again, here's your combinations. The most played 5-man combinations under Doug Christie and their plus minuses. That one in the middle with Malik, 20.9. It's a pretty damn good one. Fortunately, you will not have that one tonight. I'm of the opinion, I think Progressive came in early and said you got to get a lot of JV tonight, and I am with Progressive. In fact, I've been asking, is Doug Christie kind of saving a lot of those JV Sabonis looks for a matchup like this? Yes. If you look, he has been, Cody, but anybody who gets in those corners kills the Kings. And that's because that's why I asked Jerry right off the bat, are you doubling Anthony Davis? And I don't think you are. I think you're playing him straight up. In fact, I would argue tonight in this one, much like we talked about the game plan for Denver just a few games ago, being make Jokic beat you, like literally make Jokic score 60 points, and you're going to be okay. When you're not okay is when everybody else is doing it, and then Jokic is just waiting to pick and choose his places. I think that's kind of the game plan tonight for the Kings. Make Anthony Davis score 60. But unfortunately, against Denver, you had Christian Brown come out and have 12 quick points. You had three guys that were role players in double digits by midway through the second quarter, and Jokic only had 2 assists. If you're seeing that tonight, that's going to be a problem for the Kings. Moss, not sure if you mentioned this, Rhino, but the Mavs struggle beyond the arc without Kyrie. Considering perimeter D is our biggest weakness, I feel pretty good about tonight. Well, and we talked to Jerry about that, because if you overplay and you let those guys get in, Moss, then you're opening yourself up to the lobs. Because Dallas with the bigs, they're going to be lob city. That's what they look for. So how the Kings come out and play that is really important. I think just still, again, not doubling Anthony Davis. I am in the camp that you do not double him. And to your point, Moss, that is where the zone defense could be very effective, something that Jerry pointed out as well, as long as you are boxing out that weak side, because that is the Achilles heel of the zone defense. Andrew, what's up? Watching in Tahoe in your new travel trailer on the lake. That's awesome, man. So you're getting good reception in your travel trailer. Interesting. Did you convert one of those Sprinter vans? Or is it like a true travel trailer? Because I know there's like this whole like live in your car nation. And I mean that with respect. Like they deck their cars out and they retrofit them. So like, I don't know, you've got like a kitchen coming out here. Got a tray that comes across your seat. That's awesome, man. Enjoy. Hopefully, you know what? If they win tonight, you might need to stay for a couple extra nights. Let's see. Little frustrated about the 2 steps forward, 1 step back pattern, but in the end, we're still better than pre-2022. So happy with the overall trends. Yeah, I don't know about the overall trend. Yes, it was.
Go Stockton!
Heck of a win. Rhino, are you watching any first round from the Eastern Conference? Probably the Knicks series. I'll be paying attention to the Knicks. Beyond that, I don't know. I haven't dug much into the East because we've been so covering Stockton has taken a ton of my time, and it was time very, very well spent. No doubt about that. I can tell you also, time well spent is at Bennett's Restaurants, American cooking, prime cuts. of seafood and steak. 3 locations in the greater Sacramento area. No excuses. Roseville, Rockland, Howe, and Fair Oaks. Happy hour, 2 to 6 every single day. They've rolled out these new specialty sandwiches as a lunch special during the week, 11 to 4 p.m. And don't forget about the weekend brunch. One of our family's favorites to do, especially this time of year with the patios in Rockland. In Roseville, you can get 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne for under $60. Find me a better deal. Seriously, find me a better deal than that. If you or your significant other enjoy a mimosa on the weekend, that is hard to beat. Also, prime rib on the weekends, which is awesome on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can make your reservations there. In fact, might be a little too late for Easter, but get on top of Mother's Day. Make that reservation. You don't want to be without that reservation. If you're without that reservation, you are going to be sent to the penalty box.
Florida, number 12 has 2 minutes for roughing, and then every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct. Florida will have a...
You're going straight to the penalty box. So go to bennettsrestaurants.com and do that. You can also, by the way, order to go right there on the website. You can check out all their different specials, full menus, and much more. Big thanks to Brian, Margot, the entire team, and all of you for going out and supporting Bennett's. We've gotten nothing but good feedback, and shoot that feedback our way. We always share it with Brian, and vice versa. When you go in there, let them know that you heard about them here on the channel. Huge thanks to Bennett's. That is bennettsrestaurants.com. Go check them out. Food so good, you'll be making noises like this.
Kitty, 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 come kitty!
Like when they walk by.
Kitty, 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 come kitty, come kitty, come kitty, kitty, come.
When they walk by with the steaks before they're cooked. And they're like, which one do you want? And you haven't decided what you're going to order yet. You see another table, see those. You're just like,
kitty, 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 come kitty!
Sticky, sticky, sticky. Ooh, New York. Ribeye.
Kitty, 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 come kitty, come kitty, come kitty, kitty, come.
Telling you. Cat calling on those steaks. That's how good they are. Bennett's. So, by the way, Trailer Park Boys, underrated show. Very underrated show. Bubbles, great one. Tristan LMAO. If you don't have a reservation, you will find out why it's called Mother's Day. Real talk. Real talk. The rubber meets the road if you don't have a reservation on Mother's Day. And by the way, don't come hitting me up, Rhino. Rhino, can you get me a late reservation? It ain't happening. It's not happening. I always have to keep that in my back pocket if for whatever reason my reservation falls through. I'm not passing that reservation to you. So go make them on your own. Let's see. Happy hour at Fair Oaks Boulevard is solid. Completely agree. All right. So we are, again, just getting started tonight. We have pregame 6:15, or actually 6 o'clock tonight. Pregame, halftime, Jerry, Grant, postgame, hopefully not the last postgame of the year, but we'll be taking your calls on the postgame, breaking it down, and hopefully talking about a fun basketball game. Nobody getting hurt. The Kings moving on to Memphis. And again, you have the golden path laid out in front of you. You've got Dallas at home, even though you're not a 500 team at home. Dallas 17-25 on the road, by the way. So they're not great on the road either. But then you've got Memphis, if you win, waiting for you with a dinged up Ja Morant. Rhino, are you going to be yeeting for the Kings tonight? And the Kings need to do some serious yeeting. They're going to prevail especially tonight. JV Sabonis duo. Yeah, I think if we are talking about that duo not playing minutes together and the Kings lose this game, I think that is going to be that's where if you're getting ready for work,
You're getting ready for work right now, then you're
probably not Doug Christie. That would be a terrible mistake, in my opinion. And no, I guess I realize you're looking for a yeet, so here you go. I'll give you a yeet. No, I will not be yeeting them. Yeet! I will be analyzing so we can bring you the best Kings coverage here in Sacramento. Let's hope the Kings crowd is better than the WWE crowd on Monday. Are you calling out the Sacktown wrestling crowd? Sacktown is usually a really good wrestling crowd. Was it not good, Adam? Wow. Okay. I caught pieces of Raw. I have not seen all of Monday Night Raw. I was a little preoccupied.
Go Stockton!
Kings, let's go. Kevin Herter legacy game tonight. Yeah, they're in the play-in tonight as well. Memphis brought it last night. They did bring it, but they looked discombobulated to me. Like Zach Edey, not sure how to use him exactly. Ja Morant, he did play really well after the sprained ankle, but you got to think he is not at 100%. He's already said that he's going to play on Friday, but we don't worry about that until the Kings get past this one tonight. And Keegan Murray, he's going to have a really good game tonight. A really good game tonight. I think that is one of those X factors as well. I want this to continue. I want us to keep talking Kings postseason. Can we call it the postseason? I guess you can. It's not the playoffs. It's not the regular season, so it's the postseason. I hope we can keep doing that. So what are you looking at? What does that mean? Alex? Raw was entertaining. Okay, we're starting to come off the rails now. All right. Fair enough. Well, we are back 6:15 tonight. 6 o'clock tonight, excuse me. Pre-game show. If you just joining us now, go back and watch this show from the beginning because you have Jerry Reynolds breaking down the game with us, breaking down tonight. That was really cool. So go get your fill of Jerry Reynolds, who was on with us earlier. Last minute comments before we adjourn. It was a shot at the Raw crowd. Okay. Wow. Adam, do you think your wrestling crowd in Texas is that much better? I don't think Dallas is that great of a wrestling crowd. Sacramento is usually a good wrestling town. Seemed a bit quiet. Can't blame them. How can it be a soft Raw if it's the go home to WrestleMania? You know, they choose Sacramento a lot as a go home destination for Raws. They did that for SummerSlam. They've done it for Mania. Zach Edey, so frustrating to watch. He should have had 20 points, 10 rebounds. Yeah, Memphis just doesn't, they're not quite sure how to use him. Thumper, we've been over this, my man. Thumper, we have been. What? I have some Macho Man. Come on, Thumper. You think I'm going to be vanilla and just go with the, oh, yeah. No. We're the cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. We're going with the cream of the crop Macho Man drops. We got some. See, you guys are all just hunting for drops now. LOL. No, it's not a Sprinter van. It's a 28-foot Imagine. Have no idea what that is. Things a beauty. Got it. So my fiance and I can travel a little bit. Can't do everything with the dogs. Okay, there you go. Good stuff, man. Glad you and the fiance are on the same page when it comes to that stuff. Awesome. We have a place. It's not in Tahoe. It's in Strawberry. We have a family cabin that's like 20 minutes from South Shore. So love that area. Love that area. Keegan's defense will be key from here on out. 100%. Yep. Predictions. Get them in now because we're getting ready to get out of here. Get a little break in. 109, 106. Interesting. Let's actually look at that really quick. Let's look at what the Mavericks have been scoring before we adjourn. Let's go back to the Mavericks and their schedule. We want the regular season, please. Let's look at what they've been scoring lately. That's I'm good job, Flores. The Kings seem to do better in games where it's a race to 100. They put up 90. Well, they didn't play anybody against Memphis, so 97 against Memphis. 124. We watched the Toronto game. 97 against Los Angeles. 104 against the Clippers. 91 to the Clippers. Holy crap. Flores, great job by you. They are not scoring a lot of points as of late. And Davis played in some of those games. So this is absolutely not one of those nights where if Dallas comes out and has a 35-plus point first quarter, it's not going to be good for the Kings. Yeah, Paul, right by Strawberry Lodge. That's right. They're rebuilding Strawberry Lodge, actually. Keon Ellis. X Factor. Devin Carter, for sure. Devin Carter. Because, well, hey, okay. The easy one's Valanciunas, right? JV is the easy one. Devin Carter, to me, is the X factor for two reasons. Number one, can he play the aggressive brand without taking it over the edge? Can he be in between aggressive and reckless abandon? And then secondly, can he give you all you need from Devin Carter is like 8 points. Can you get 8 points from Devin Carter? The X factor is okay. Here's how the refs come into play. I have not watched a ton of this version of Dallas, but they don't look like they're overly physical. So physicality will be important, which goes back to the Devin Carter X factor. But if the Kings come out and play a physical brand right from the start, that really makes it a difficult game to referee. Because then there is a level of physicality that the refs are allowing, which could help the Kings. But if the Kings come out and they're soft and they're shooting jump shots and then they decide to get physical, you can't expect that same kind of whistle. You just can't. So I think more than the refs being the X factor, it's the Kings' physicality being the X factor, the consistency of the Kings' physicality coming out of it. I don't have a BAM drop. Is that near Strawberry Fields? No. Are you going to hit me with like a Strawberry Hill joke? Is that what you're setting me up for, Al? Why do you never eat a green snake? Because it's not ripe yet? Are we going back to the Dennis dad jokes? Can we just please burn it down? The dad jokes down, please. The other important thing about, 100%. The other important thing about Carter is he can switch. You can, if you have Carter, Keegan, and Keon on the floor at the same time, they can all switch and guard multiple positions. I'm with you. I hear you. I hope it's not the storyline that we're talking about at the end of the night. if it's the storyline we're talking about at the end of the night, the Kings probably are not winning. And if we're talking about that style of pace, the Kings are probably not winning. Jerry and I have come to an agreement in those areas. And anytime you agree with Jerry Reynolds, you're in a good place. Outside landing, Adam, the Logan Paul fanatic. Ooh, Adam. Adam's a mark for Logan Paul. JV will be unleashed tonight. Yeah. Again, I'm hoping that's what Doug Christie's ace up his sleeve is, that he has been waiting all this time to just unleash it. Like this lady.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness
JB.
of the biscuit.
Dunking all over.
Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread. To get your butter spread all on me.
Yeah, anyways. Yeah. Need some JB. All right. If the Kings lose tonight, do you think Kings pull the trigger on a Monty or Doug firing or both? Well, funny that you ask. There's already some, and this, again, I don't have a Captain Obvious drop, but about as Captain Obvious as it gets, Hoops Hypes has come out and said that heading into the play-in tournament, Sacramento Kings executive Monty McNair is on the hot seat. If he's on the hot seat, do you think the vest is coming off? Never mind. I'm getting caught in the minutia. League sources told Hoops Hype during the season, Sacramento lost assistant Luke Laux, who went to Florida State, lost Wes Wilcox, who went to Utah, which signaled alarms around the league that more changes could be coming for the Kings. Should McNair's tenure in Sacramento end, many in the league circles have pointed to former Denver Nuggets general manager Calvin Booth. Okay, first off, that is like that's not even a story. That's just reality. That's just a safe assumption. Yes, Monty is on the hot seat. Come on. And yes, I think short of the Kings, Paul, short of the Kings winning a championship, they're both gone. I think it is time to clean house, because you can't have the same eyes making the same decisions on the next 2, 3, 4 years of Kings basketball, which easily might be decided this offseason between Sabonis and DeRozan. I, for one, am not, and I'm not ready to judge the Fox trade, because it might end up being a really good trade. Who knows? But I am questioning the timing of the Fox trade. There was no reason to get Fox out that quick. You could almost argue, actually, yeah, right, Jeremy Lamb for GM. Don't start me there. You could almost argue that the Kings did better by Fox than they did by their fan base and their roster. It's almost I don't want to say guaranteed. It would have been a very safe assumption based off of the people that I talked to around the team and the people that are around league circles, that Fox's value would have been better in the offseason. And the opposite, the argument to that was, well, it's going to be a distraction. Okay. I don't think it would have been a distraction, but if it was, you know what you do? You shut him down and you get him surgery. Because the Kings were playing just fine without him. They had some of their best wins in best basketball without him on the court. We're coming off the rails here, man. Rhino, do you think the JV Travis connection, almost identical? Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. They do look somewhat similar. Yeah. All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Is Bibby looking for an assistant coach at Sac State? Doug got a job lined up. Yeah, we'll see. Rhino, do you think Doug could be promoted? I sure hope not. There's some that I'm not going to go there. No, he should not be promoted. What I will tell you is you have some very good talent already within this organization. Not saying they should be promoted to the big team, but you have a very, very good and up-and-coming GM in Gabriel Harris that just won a G League championship. And he's had his hands on the controller the last season and a half as the acting GM, and before that as an assistant GM. Quentin Crawford has NBA experience in the coaching ranks as an assistant. Just won a G League championship. What I'm saying is you have some very good talent in this organization. Like, if you are looking to, okay, well, if Doug can't coach the team, where else can we put him? If that's where we're at as an organization, then watch out. Watch out. Because he bought the team and there's really no way to force him out. Pretty simple. The only way that happens is if the fans, reject Vivek and reject the product, which is not going to happen, nor am I promoting that to happen. Who's the leading scorer tonight? It's got to be Zach LaVine. Has to be Zach LaVine. 100% for the Kings. Has to be Zach LaVine. I will say this. You need to win tonight. You need 5 guys in double digits. You need 5 guys in double digits. You need 14 or more made three-pointers. And you need at least 28 assists. There's my trifecta. That is what you need for the Kings to win tonight. Might as well leave on that. That is exactly what you need for the Kings to win tonight. Keon Ellis earlier today at shoot around, then we'll get ready to dismiss.
Personally, just because I've never really seen a lineup like that.
Do you imagine, you're a big part of the reason why, but, Klay Thompson had a pretty tough game in that final game with the Warriors here. He went like 0-10, I think it was. Do you think is there any kind of secret there for the way you guys defended him in that game? And do you imagine he's going to come in with a different sense of aggression as a result of that?
I would imagine he'd probably come in and try to bounce back from that performance, but I can't really remember too much of. Obviously, guys like Klay, Steph, elite shooters like that, you want to just pressure them, not let them get any easy looks, because those are guys that can get it rolling and it'll be a long night for you. So definitely, I for sure to make it tough on them. I can't remember what it exactly was, but nothing easy. Kind of like you said, shots are not going to fall every night. So with it being a single game, I'm pretty sure that's like a game we want to have back. So, but yeah, it'll probably be the same thing tonight. Make it tough on him. Don't give him nothing easy. Don't let him kind of roll into the game. He sees his first couple go in, and he'll get it going quick. So and that won't be good for us. So.
And when you think of you're no stranger to big atmospheres in this arena, just what do you kind of expect from the fans tonight?
Definitely a playoff environment. The crowd's always good every night, but I think like last year, as far as the play in, and I think even tonight it'll be just on a different level from the regular season. But it'll definitely be good to get that feeling again.
The play-in is obviously kind of like a fairly new thing.
Jerry and I both think Keegan on AD. Keegan on AD, and straight up too. Not doubling, not shading, straight up on AD. Again, my game plan outside of the zone defense that Jerry mentioned is let AD score 50. Let him score 50. Don't let the other guys around him get going and then have AD start his game. Let AD do AD. Basically the opposite of what the Kings did against Denver. Had they let Jokic just score 50 or 60 and not doubled him, we're at a different place in that game. So let AD score 50 and let Keegan play him straight up. I think you mix in some zone, you play him straight up. Heck, maybe you put a little JV on him just to frustrate him. This is one of those games, though, and somebody put this in the chat already. You wish you had Jake LaRavia. Certainly you want Monk, but to have that switch up where you could just throw Jake LaRavia on him for a couple of possessions and just get him out of sorts, that would have been big. But unfortunately, you do not have him. Oh my gosh, are we ending with a dad joke? I'll decide after Keon finishes.
I mean, how much do you have like excitement heading into tonight and expecting to Sean's question, like a fun atmosphere, I guess?
I mean, like you said, yes, it's still kind of new, but I mean, I think it's still a little scary because you just never really know. I mean, if someone just has an off night or whatever, but it's only a single game elimination, so you have to really be like I said, on your P's and Q's. But I mean, I think that brings a little bit of excitement too. You know, because everyone's out there just trying to do the right things, trying to win this one game, and all the chips are pushed to the table. So yeah, it's definitely good for the sport, for the fans. I mean, because you lose this one, season's over. So you're going to get the team's best shot.
You guys have been playing some good basketball lately. What do you like about how you've been playing, and what do you hope carries into tonight?
I think our effort. I mean, I think like I've said before, our last couple of games have been against playoff teams. So and they've been close games, and everything's been there. So we've won some, we've lost some, but I mean, it's all about just learning from your mistakes and then trying to get better. So I think those matchups against those teams can just prepare us for tonight. I mean, another playoff caliber team. So the games that we've had before, I mean, just kind of set us up for this. So I mean, we should be in a good spot.
Thanks, guys.
Keon Ellis after shoot around. All right. I think we are pretty well set for this one. I'm feeling good about this one. Had some good roundtable talks. We've had Jerry Reynolds on. Awesome always having Jerry here on the channel. Nothing better than having Jerry on the channel. So go back and watch that if you missed it. Al, it better be good. It better be good. If we are going to end on a dad joke, do not disappoint me, Al. All right, Al. I'll give it to you. Here we go. Ryan, let's close it with a dad joke. What do you call a shrimp that's good at basketball? Anybody? Drum roll. LeBron James. Shouldn't have ended it on a dad joke. And again, ESPN going to that pre-taped halftime for the third time on the G League Finals. Get the heck out of here. Don't do that. Why did you do that? Anyways, all right, we're out. We're back 6 o'clock tonight, pregame. Appreciate all you. We will go further into detail with all this. We'll have audio from Doug Christie before the game. We will get you set for tip-off. It is almost here. The play-in, if you're going, get loud. Please get loud. Pick this team up. Pick them up. I wish Mason Jones could be there. He will be there. But I mean, like, could be dressed to give him that energy. Give him that pregame talk. Mason Jones is the best, man. All right, Coach Christie, break us down.
That's big time shit. Together on 3, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Together.
All right, we're back. 6 p.m. Kings, Mavs playing. Win or stay home. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. If you're going to the game, be safe, be loud. We'll see you back here on the channel. 6 p.m. Court is dismissed.